Hey, what's up? Lightbolt Joe here. Today we are going to discuss the brand new 2020 Netflix original film slash sequel, Christmas Chronicles 2. You have Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn back, respectively, as Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. Um, Jonah Lewis is back as Teddy, very briefly. He doesn't get that much screen time in this movie. I absolutely love him, and it's cool because he was in Babysitter 2, Christmas Chronicles 2. He's been in 4 Netflix films. That's awesome. So good for you. Yeah, he's pretty cool. I want to see him do horror movies. I really want to see him do horror movies. So there was an interview recently with Goldie Hawn saying how she absolutely loved filming this movie with Kurt Russell because it felt like an absolute honeymoon to be on the set with him constantly doing this Christmas film, playing husband and wife, playing Santa and Mrs. Claus. So the question is, how do you do a sequel to 2018's The Christmas Chronicles, right? So Chris Columbus is back as the director, writer, producer of this. And it's hard enough to do a sequel, but it's hard enough to do a sequel to a Christmas movie because it has to keep that same Christmas belief kind of aspect, holiday cheer, all that good stuff. No humbugs, or learn from your humbugs. Now, I have a duality of respect and hate for Chris Columbus because he is responsible for Christmas with the Cranks, incredible. He's responsible for the first 2 Harry Potter films, incredible. Harry Potter's in a rough patch for the fandoms currently because of the creator's constant transphobia. But back in the early days, those movies were incredible, groundbreaking. Right? He's responsible for Home Alone. He is responsible for the Percy Jackson films, and we know how I feel about those and how they don't exist. Okay, so duality, right? My life is a duality. Good times. Now, this movie, Christmas Chronicles 2, was incredible. I had high expectations. These blew my expectations away. I had tears in my eyes watching this film. I was blown away. So the question is, what happens if one of Santa's elves is bad? Because we know what happens to bad kids, they get coal. But what happens to a bad elf? And why is an elf bad? Or is an elf bad because he's trying to be good? So, there's this character, Belsnickel, right? He's an elf. We get the backstory of how Santa came to be. This version's Santa came to be. So, in Asia Minor, which is now currently Turkey, the country Turkey, Santa in the year 312 AD was known as Saint Nicholas. At that point, mortal, wasn't granted the gift of immortality until that time period, but he would give little coins to kids in their shoes by the door and put the apples or oranges in the stockings and things, right? So then his good deeds were found out from the forest elves, these little creatures in the forests, obviously hence their name, forest elf, and they had the power to grant, not the power to grant, they had the power of creating a vessel to have part of the Star of Bethlehem held into it. And then Santa and some of the forest elves, which were millions of the forest elves, but some of them, not all of them, went to go find a new place to go and make sure that kids can have, Christmas cheer constantly, right? So that's where the North Pole comes about. So in the middle of Santa Claus Village, which is renamed Mrs. Claus Village, the Christmas star at the top of the tree has the part of the Star of Bethlehem in it. That's their little mythos there. So what happens with Kate and Teddy Pierce, right? How did those characters from the first movie come to this one? We start off in Cancun. Tyrese Gibson is in this movie. Did not expect this at all, but he played a good character of Bob. I will give him that. Tyrese has a son, Jack. Tyrese is about, it took Kate and Teddy and their mom to Cancun, Mexico, to celebrate Christmas. Bob and their mom have been dating for a while now, like 10 months, something like that, but they've known each other longer, and they really like each other. So Bob suggests that they all spend the holiday together in a warm place, something a little different for everybody. Jack's mom passed away recently, and then Teddy and Kate's dad passed away, obviously, within the last 2 years. So they're it's two broken homes trying to come together for the holiday. Kate obviously is rebellious against it. She doesn't want anything to do with Bob. Teddy is for it, but he's also, he's grown up. So, like, he wants to go snorkeling with the hot girl who's at the resort, So Jack, Tyrese Gibson's character, Bob's younger son, 10-year-old son, Jack, and then Kate's now 13. They have to go to a kids club at the resort while the parents go look at some Mayan ruins, for the weekend. And then in the process, Kate is trying to actually run away to the airport. But this character, Bill Snickle, right, who's a bad elf who turned human because he broke all of the elf codes, is now trying to get back to the North Pole to get revenge on Santa Claus. Because how dare Santa ignore him? Things like that, right? So Bill Snickle takes a golf cart, pretends he's at an port shuttle bus, gets Kate, Jack hitches a ride, shoots them through a wormhole. They wind up in the North Pole, almost freeze to death. Santa finds them after hunting a Yule cat, Jola the Yule cat, who's massive, triceratops-sized, cat, snow leopard. He brings them back to the North Pole. He brings them to Santa Village, Mrs. Claus. Warms them up with some special hot cocoa. She's got some nice white magic going on, herbs and spices galore. But then all hell breaks loose because Bill Snickle hitched a ride on the sleigh, and then it's starting to turn all the elves bad, and like has the Yule cat attack Dasher, and like now everyone's split all over the place. So like Bill Snickle steals the star, and then Santa and Bill Snickle have a battle to get the star, but then it disappears because it evaporates with their magic and tech powers. So now Santa has to go back to Turkey, talk to the forest elves again, try to get a new star to put on the tree, so that way the magic and the Aurora Borealis can maintain the secrecy of Santa's village, right? Santa's workshop. So Kate and Santa go to Turkey. Jack and Mrs. Claus try to help the elves and Dasher. Bill Snickle is trying to get to Turkey as well to prevent Santa from getting another star. But in the process, Bill Snickle sends Santa and Kate to 1990 to Trenton Airport, something like that, in 1990, where Kate has to buy batteries, but then there's a mix-up with the money because she has 2020 money, not 1990 money. So it's a thing there. And it was funny. The girl's like, in 30 years, they're probably not even going to use paper money. It was funny. So then she gets thrown in airport jail because she tried to steal the batteries, and then she's talking to this kid there, and he's, being kind and sincere, and he's, it's like, yeah, like, family's important. Like, you should be with family at the holidays, things like that. Turns out it was her dad the entire time, Doug Pierce, who happened to have a knife, which he then passed on to his son Teddy. That says that Pierce always sees it through. And then she finally gets the goodbye that she never got to give to her dad, except she gave it to her 13-year-old dad in 1990, which was a little bit of Santa magic for that. And it was a cute moment where Kate and Teddy were talking about being able to see their dad at a young age and getting to say goodbye. That was a deep, heavy, emotional part. Did not expect it coming. It was gorgeous. So Dasher's back to life. Jack saves the day. The elves are back. Mrs. Claus helped out everything. Bill Snickle and Santa have a talking, and then he realizes that, he and Kate are not much different, that they are afraid of change, and they don't like change, and they, want to maintain a family, and, they're tired of running, things like that, right? So then Bill Snickle turns back into an elf. Then all is good. Santa drops the kids off in Cancun. Teddy is happy to see Santa wave at him and say Merry Christmas, up on the shoreline in his sleigh as Teddy's, basking in the sun. That was pretty cute. And then they all sing Oh Christmas Tree at the end, because that was Doug's favorite song. And Kate didn't like when Bob was trying to sing it originally, but then Kate suggested they all sing it as a family song. So then they all come together and sing Oh Christmas Tree, and you have the North Pole village singing Oh Christmas Tree, and you have Kate Pierce and company singing Oh Christmas Tree, and then it was a beautiful, beautiful film. It was a very touching, moving Christmas film. And it's rare to do that in a sequel, let alone a Christmas sequel. Very rare. So, bravo. Round of applause. Silent clapping. I don't know who's sleeping currently around the house. But, yeah. Go watch this on Netflix if you haven't. We need to talk about it. I was so happy to see, it's elated to see Doug and Kate Pierce talking in airport jail. I thought that was so great to see. And then she gets to hug him goodbye. Oh, the warm feelings, the fuzzies. It's great. It's great. Merry Christmas. Hope you find that Yuletide cheer. Keep those warm and fuzzies inside. Mucho mahalo.